Josh, good morning.
How
Welcome.
are we?
How
Cheers,
are we?
man. All good. Yeah, all good. Happy to be chatting.
Yeah, thanks for this, man. I appreciate it. I know, of course, you're a busy man, and we've actually got some sun in England, so I won't keep you for too
Finally.
long. But no, I appreciate you carving some time out to do this today. So just to sort of let you know how this will work, I'll ask you a few questions, very sort of informal, and yeah, hopefully having you on today and hearing your story and what we've been able to accomplish will potentially inspire other people that are maybe stuck where you once was. So first of all, let's just kick off by introducing yourself. You take a minute to let everybody know what you do and who you are.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm Josh. I'm 28 years old. I'm from the UK, from South Wales. I'd say my background is in like film and video and creativity, photography, things like that. So that's what I studied. That's kind of the industry that I worked in my early 20s.
Mhm.
And then my mid 20s, I took a leap. I took the gap year, which ended up being 2.5 years. So I traveled around Australia, Southeast Asia. Yeah, so in that time, I was kind of experiencing life a bit, enjoying myself. Returned home before 2020, and we all know what happened in 2020. So I've kind of, from then up until now, been in a bit of muddy waters, you might say. Which has kind of led me to you, I guess. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you sharing that, and I am currently trying to sort of emulate that traveling aspect.
Yeah,
Not quite as exotic places that you've been as of yet.
not
Yeah.
yet.
But yeah, no, thanks for sharing that. And I think, that I always like to sort of ask people to introduce themselves simply because I feel a lot of other people will be able to see themselves in your story. So yeah, thanks a lot, man. So in terms of, if it's okay with you, I'll just dive into the questions. Is that all right?
Yeah,
Wonderful.
go for it.
So of course, you've just briefly touched on, what led you to me, but why don't you tell me a bit more, get a bit more specific in what was your life like before working with me?
Yeah, so I would say the last 3 years specifically have been very much living in Groundhog Day, Groundhog Week, Groundhog Month, in the sense of I've been stuck in this cycle of chasing what I thought I wanted,
Mm-hmm.
um, whereas in fact it wasn't actually what I wanted. To be more specific, after my travels, I thought, I have to make money online because I wanted to continue to live this travel and experience. So I got caught in this trap of chasing all these online business models, spending thousands into them. So yeah, that cycle was me starting a business model, failing and giving up. Or I wouldn't say failing, but feeling resistance, a lot of inner resistance, which led to frustration, anger. So then I would give up and then I'll start again with a new model. So I'd be stuck in this cycle of going around in circles of feeling resistance, frustration, anger, and a lot of self-doubt because I wasn't seeing any results. And now I've finally come to learn through working with you that this is a form of self-sabotage. And the reason I was stuck in this cycle, of telling myself that I should be doing all of this work, I should be seeing this success. I can't relax until I have this some kind of success. Always putting my success in the future,
Mm-hmm.
neglecting the present moment, neglecting my mental health, you could say. So that in itself, I've come to learn is a form of self-sabotage. But the reason that I was in this cycle to begin with is because, as I said previously, my background is in like photography, creativity, filmmaking. I really was full of self-doubt and I didn't pursue that career, which is what I should have pursued in the beginning, rather than these business models that were sending me around in circles like a dog chasing his tail. It should have been what I enjoyed all along. And the reason I didn't pursue that is because, again, I've learned now that I was catastrophizing, overgeneralizing, and just not believing in myself and seeing the reasons that I would fail rather than the reasons as why I might succeed.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just that in a nutshell, really. And that's been the past 3 years for me.
3 years. Okay.
Mm.
Wow. Yeah, I think again, going back to other people seeing themselves in that story, you know yourself by now that self-sabotage comes from fear, more so irrational fear.
Mhm.
And you know, we can repeat this cycle over and over and over again, but it has to become so frustrating for you to finally want to change it. And I've seen instant results with you, instant sort of insights, and you know, you've shared many messages back and forth on Slack with myself. And it seems to me now that that seems to be changing. You seem to be being a lot more compassionate to yourself,
Mm.
and there's less so should statements here and there, and less so self-doubt. Would you be inclined to agree?
Yeah, definitely. And as you well know, even after the first session we had, you asked a question and you know what that question was. And that just opened up a new level for me of thinking and just seeing things from a different perspective.
Mm.
So yeah, definitely. And just becoming more conscious of how I'm actually thinking is the first step, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I remember the voice note you sent me after that first session. And yeah, I remember I was in Porto and I was in the back and I think I was eating late and you sent me that voice note. And yeah, you gave me goosebumps when you said that because yeah, it was so nice to just hear it didn't take too much for you to be like, this makes sense. You know, I need to do something that I haven't been doing. So yeah, that was very memorable. I remember it as if it was yesterday. So
Yeah.
let's talk a bit more specific then. You've talked about the should statements, you've talked about, you know, being relatively sort of harsh on yourself, having this sort of self-doubt. But how would you say you were sabotaging your own success? Be more specific with me.
Yeah. So I've always knew I wanted to pursue photography as
Yeah.
a career, and videography.
Hmm.
Whenever I'd think about starting that and going freelance into that, I would catastrophize, which I now know is what I'm doing, and just instantly paint this picture of, as to why I could never do it.
Yeah.
Um, or maybe I don't quite have the skills necessary yet, or maybe I should buy like a new camera before I start, or maybe I should I should do free, I should do, I shouldn't charge this rate, or I shouldn't, just so many reasons why I shouldn't do it or why I can't do it, to the extent that I wouldn't do it. And just yeah, it's so, and this is the thing that I've come to learn with self-sabotage. It's so instant like this that it's so subconscious. And when you're constantly in these patterns of just doing that and repeating that, you're not aware of it. And now that I've become aware of it, like no doubt, it's still there, of course, and it's going to take time to overcome. But now I'm like, boom, there it is, there it
Yeah.
is, there you are. Like okay, I've got
I,
you now. And the more you kind of become aware of that, using the methods that you're teaching, the reframing, I can now work through it and overcome it, which I'm starting to do, and I've seen big kind of changes in the past few weeks alone. So yeah, it's definitely, for me, it's been painting a negative picture in my head as to why I can't do something, and then believing that negative picture.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think you hit the nail on the head there. These sort of subconscious thoughts, they happen very often. And as you mentioned, because they happen so often, we aren't as aware of them as we should be. And of course, in order to solve a problem, we first need to be aware of the problem. So it's interesting because you shared at the beginning, you said that you'd start something, you'd stop it, you'd start something, you'd stop it, and then you would want to do X, Y, and Z. But then you would tell yourself this when then fallacy. You know, when
Yeah,
I get a new laptop, then I'll do it. Or when X happens, then I'll do Y,
yeah,
etc. And now you're able to see, okay, this is harming me and not helping me. So yeah, that in itself is brilliant. Now, of course, I'm interested to know, appreciate we've covered a lot in the time that we've worked together. There's been a lot of tools, resources, and strategies, etc. What would you say, though, has been your biggest takeaway? One thing that you've taken and yeah, it's really landed with you.
I think well, it's been more than one, but I'd say the biggest is just working with you specifically, and definitely that key insight that I got from you when you asked me that question,
Mm,
which I guess was, what do you enjoy?
mm,
And taking a step back, I really realized that what I'm doing in these cycles of repeating myself, I'm not enjoying it whatsoever. So why would I do something that I'm not enjoying?
mm,
And I've realized, and in realizing that, I realized that I was sabotaging in two layers, like two different layers. So the should be statements, I should be doing this, I should be, pursuing this business model. And in realizing that in first realizing that level of sabotage, that helped me unlock the core layer, you could say, which was the
mm.
catastrophizing and the overgeneralizing, um, which helped me to just fully take a step back. And I stopped. I literally stopped what I was doing. I stopped this cycle of misery, I might call it. And just, yeah, with these reframing methods, so with these huge takeaways is that I was self-sabotaging in two different layers.
Mm,
And I think ultimately the key takeaway was realizing that what I was doing was not what I wanted to be doing, and I had to accept that. And that's so hard to accept after 3 years.
mm,
After 3 years of like effort and a lot of financial kind of commitment as well and time, it's so hard to step back and say, do you know what, this is actually it's not what I want to be doing. And yeah, through your kind of teachings and your methods, I've really kind of accepted and yeah, come to terms with that.
mm. No, that's really amazing to hear. And I think what you've just shared then, just towards the end, because of all of the sunk cost, the sunk cost fallacy, because you've spent money, you've spent the time, you've spent X, Y, and Z. You thought, oh, I'll just continue doing it.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people do. That's why a lot of people will stay in relationships for years and years and they're not happy with it, or jobs, for years and years and they're not happy with it, because they tell themselves this story, this inner narrative that, oh, I've been doing it for 10 years, or I've done it for 20 years, or I've been married for 15 years. And that for me shouldn't be the reason you continue doing something that, makes you feel a way that you don't want to feel. And if anything, and I would flip this on its head, if anything, the longer that you've spent with someone or a job, and the more you're realizing you're unhappy, for me, it's like, okay, well, let's end this immediately so that this 15 years doesn't turn into 20, or the 10
But
years.
it's funny to say that, and sorry to butt in there. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, for the past 3 years, I've been at a job that it's a soul draining job. It's a very soul draining job. Um, and yeah, I could say I know I shouldn't be in that job anymore. And I know it's not getting me anywhere. I'm not learning anything. I'm not learning any new skills. It's comfortable. And
Mhm.
that's the thing. A lot of people get stuck in the comfort trap. And whenever I've thought about, okay, I need to leave, there's been so many times where I'm leaving this job. I'm leaving this job, but I haven't yet because I just think, well, I'm comfortable now. And what if I leave and I don't quite find a job that kind of, gives me the comfort that this job does? And again, self-sabotage, catastrophizing. Again, now I'm aware of it. Now I'm fully aware of it.
Mhm.
And when you said previously, the phase of the program that we're in right now is the self-forgiveness phase, which is definitely what I need to work on, given the fact that, like I said, I've spent thousands on these courses, a lot of time, 3 years of time. And I find myself thinking, I've wasted all this money. I've
Yeah.
wasted all this time. I could have been improving my skills as a photographer. I could have been building networking. And since working with you, I finally stepped back. I finally got this new laptop that I said I've needed for the past 3 years. That's now a powerhouse in editing. And I'm finally thinking of a realistic plan as to how I can get out of this job by the end of the year. And I think just being in this mindset, which you've helped me step back and reframe what I want to do.
Mhm.
I've had two people last week that messaged me for my services in photography and videography. And it's just like, wow, now it's coming to me. And now I'm
Nice.
ready for it, because in the past, I used to push it away. I used to push it away because I'd say, oh, no, I'm not quite ready. Oh, I can't do this, and just these just these excuses, these automatic excuses. But now, yeah, even in the past few weeks, I can see a light now. I can see a light. It's like I'm not putting my happiness into the future anymore. The light is coming to me. It's right here. It's right now. So yeah, just wanted to butt in and kind of
No,
share
no,
that.
absolutely. Butt in, absolutely. That's it's great to hear. So the goal is to get a new role by the end of the year. Is that the goal?
I'd say so. It's to get out of this job and just like work for myself in a way because I
Okay.
know I can do it. I've got evidence that I can do it, and that's one of the the reframes you teach is
Mhm.
have evidence of doing this in the past. So
Mhm.
yeah, I definitely want to at least because with my job it's a shift pattern, so I have time off. A lot
Okay.
of I have time off now, so I have 5 days off, 5 days on.
Mhm.
So even if it's kind of replace or level my income that I'm making from my job now with kind of freelance and doing my own thing so that I can just transition out of that.
Beautiful.
Mm.
Beautiful. That's exciting. Okay. Yeah, I'm more than happy for you to butt in when you've got things like that to share. Again, something else that plenty of people will be able to resonate with. So, last question then, I want to ask, what would sort of, what would be, let me ask this question. There's a lot of people that I speak to on Instagram and YouTube, Facebook, and various other social media platforms that they want help. They're just a little sort of apprehensive of reaching out or jumping on a call or invested in themselves. So, what sort of encouragements or not encouragement, let me change that. What sort of advice would you give to those people who are apprehensive of working with a coach?
Yeah. Well, I would say first off is that we are our own worst enemies. And I've learned that the reason why we self-sabotage is out of fear, as you said earlier on, and it's to keep ourselves safe in a way. But a lot of the time, we're keeping ourselves safe from hypothetical scenarios and things that are not, real. And I wasn't fully aware of that. And it was with the help of you that helped me overcome that. So in terms of working with a coach, it helps you think outside of yourself. I'd say from that other perspective. And you specifically, I think you're definitely great with your insights and not just general insights, but more specifically catered specifically to the person you're working with. So catered to me, you knew what I was going through.
Mhm.
You knew how I was self-sabotaging even more than I did. Again, which is that thing as a coach, you were aware of things that I didn't see in myself.
Mhm.
Um, and like I said, 3 years I was stuck in this cycle. For some people, it's 1 year. Some people, it's 5 years. For some people, I know you've worked with, it might be 20 years.
Yeah.
But it allows you to think outside of yourself, see yourself, I'd say, from a third person perspective, and really have those moments of, yeah, I didn't see it like that. I
Mhm.
didn't see it like that. So who knows? Like without your help, I could have spent another 3 years down this road, another 3 years, 20 years until I get to the point of just, oh shit, I've messed up here. So yeah, I'd say, if you're feeling like you're stuck on this cycle, you're stuck in this loop, you're not quite getting where you want to be, like something's wrong, something's in the way. Working with a coach can really help you break that down and build it up again in a more efficient way and really escape those kind of self-sabotaging ways. So yeah, ultimately, I think it's just thinking from a third person perspective.
Yeah. No, I think we all have blind spots. It's why I've just invested a significant amount with a new coach. You and I met through a coaching program. So yeah, we all have blind spots and we all need support. You'll know from working with me for quite some time now. That's one of the reasons we have guest speakers come into the program because I am not an expert of everything, and it'd be sort of unrealistic for me to pretend to be that. So yeah, I think we all have blind spots, and it's really interesting what you said, that those insights that I've been able to cater specifically for you have sort of really landed with you. So thank you, man. I appreciate it. Hopefully somebody sees this and even if, and this is important as well, even if they don't choose to work with me, they choose to go and work with another coach and solve their problems or reach their goals and, you know, become better versions of themselves, then this video is been time well spent. So thanks again for your time. And I guess I'll see you this evening.
Indeed,
Thank you.
definitely.